Recording.
Woohoo!
Episode 3, right?
Yeah.
33, 3, 2,
3,
4,
2, 1, 4,
7.
7, 8.
Who do we have today? We have a new guy.
Yeah,
I haven't
Mr.
seen
Chris.
this guy before. How you doing? Hi, Mr. Chris.
I'm doing good.
How are you?
I'm well,
Well, you were good before, but
mixed-
are you better now?
mixed
It's been
emotions.
Yeah.
You know.
So we're doing a podcast, talking about Hellscream and Fear Complex currently, until we can get some more actors from other haunts. But figured we bring you in. Mainly, one of the big reasons is you are one of the big characters at Hellscream, correct?
Yes, I'm Dr. Von Helton.
Yeah. So with Dr. Von Helton, what does he do? What is exactly his character about? What is?
He's the one that created everything on the inside of the house.
Yeah.
Everyone inside the house.
Yeah.
And no, they are not zombies. They are not dead. They are quite alive. They just wish they were dead.
It's all their cruel experiments that makes them wish they're dead.
Right? I miss being on the line.
Yeah.
That's what I did for a lot of years. And then COVID hit. And so our illustrious leader, Jesse, built me an operating theater.
Yes.
That is one of the best illusions you'll ever see.
It is a great illusion. It's an illusion table. We slide somebody inside the table actually to make it look like they are the body, but really it's just a little head flopping around. And then they've also got, what else they got in there for you?
Well, I got the seats.
Yeah.
That came from the printer home.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a secret in the corner.
Yeah.
And a secret when they leave.
Like a little secret or big secret?
No, just a non-moving secret.
It's the lore of the third floor of Hellscream.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would
Throw
say
you out the window.
There's
shocking.
because when they come in, and there's rails that come around, and they have to go in between my operating table and the seats.
Right.
And there's a mannequin with a top hat sitting in the corner.
Ooh.
And they're watching me, and they're like, "What's going on over there?" And then they turn and look and see that. And
You gotta love the little pop-up corner stairs and the little stuff.
I know, but it's not even real.
I know.
And there's people, and they'll keep walking, going, "It's gonna jump, it's gonna jump, it's gonna jump," and it's like, it's not real.
It's a distraction.
Right.
Yes.
So about that little joke that I said about the lore of the third floor, you've been around Hellscream for a while. Have you heard this third floor lore? I just heard about it the other day that they toss people out of the third floor of Hellscream. Is that true? Are you tossing people out of the third floor?
I need the body parts. No. The biggest thing that happened that I can remember, Jesse was brand new, and they had made him the staff manager, more or less. And he was doing a walk through the house, and he gets up on the third floor, and there's I'm out on the line. There's no women. And he's looking around going, "What the hell is going on?" So he finally finds them. They're all in the bathroom. Mm. The place is haunted. And it's like, okay. I've been going to that place. Yeah, this is my 14th year. I've been all over that building at night, sometimes looking for Jesse by myself. I have never been approached by any entity. There was a cat once.
Right.
That scared the crap out of me because it jumped, and I was like, "What the?"
Well, why would there be a cat in the building?
Who knows?
I mean,
I want to know how it got in there.
Aliens.
I
am a firm believer that cats are aliens. By the way,
especially like Sphinx cats.
Yeah,
they look like aliens.
Someone needs to take an iron to them. They're a little wrinkled.
Yeah, they're
so cute.
A little steam bath with them.
Well, that's one opinion.
That's one.
Sphinx cats are just like, why would you get that?
They're mean.
And they are.
They're not nice. They're
every time I see one now, all I can think of is
yes.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
So you said you were with Hellscream for 14 years.
This will be my 14th year.
Have you been the doctor the entire 14 years?
No, the first 2 years was an experiment and a dichotomy. We were trying to figure out what my character was going to be. I even went The very first night that I was there, my ex sister-in-law is when she called me and she said, "Hey, you want to work in a haunted house?" And I was like, "Sure." When does it start? And she goes, "In about an hour."
Oh shit.
And that's when it was over at Mr. Biggs.
Right.
So I drive over there. I go in the back, and Chris Spiller was the manager.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, and she looks at me, and I'm like, "I'm the guy that Janelle called in." And she goes, "Can you drag a shovel?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Here." She goes, "Your costume's right there." And about then, Vince came around the corner, and he goes, "No." And she looked at him. I mean, lasers coming out of her eyes. And he goes, "I need him up front." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "I already know his background. He's been acting his whole adult life." He goes, "So he's going to be the greeter."
Right.
And back then, the greeter welcomed the people and gave them the rules.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you sent them into the hunt. And so the first night I was just kind of in a used costume.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? And at one point I came in as a pirate and everybody lost it. They're like, "What in the?" So that was a little different. But once we moved over to our new building, I was approached about Dr. Von Helton.
Nice.
Because you guys know, but our guests don't know, that I do about 30 different accents and characters.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was asked, "Can you do German?" And I said, "Well, if I'm trying really hard, I could probably do the German accent." And they're like, "Oh, my freaking God."
So, how hard was the transition from stage acting to haunted house acting? Because we do get a lot of drama kids and stuff like that. And I feel like they struggle with that transition sometimes because it's the difference.
This is why I push improv. You have to be able to do improv to work in a haunted house.
Yes.
Stage acting is scripted.
Yep.
And okay, I need to move to this point and say this, and I need to move to this point and say this. When you work in a haunted house, you wing it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to be able to do improv.
Because that scene that you may have set up, it might change with the crowd. They might not walk in that direct path that you need them to walk for you to hit that point. So you have to come up with something new every time.
When I was working the line,
yeah, it's nonstop. That's 4.5 hours of improv.
I'm quick.
Yeah.
And so when somebody says something smart, Alec, I fire it right back at them. And I also have a dual personality. I have a guy that named Jack, the Ripper, that messes with people in line. And I've had people start crying outside.
So if you are truly Jack the Ripper, how did you kill those victims so efficiently?
Yeah.
And get away with it?
And never get caught.
I am Dr. Van Helden. So the doctor part would take over.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Respite on the Spitalfields.
Yeah. Like a little Dexter action.
Yeah.
Slice them up real nice and then put it away.
I'll keep this part. I'll keep this part. See, the premise behind Dr. Von Helton's background is he accident. Oh my God! I can only hear it one ear.
That's how it happens.
Where did that thing go?
It's still in your ear.
Oh.
We use black magic to make it disappear.
I know he would.
Improv, of course.
Dr. Von Helton is timeless. He's been around forever, and he has the ability to keep people alive.
Right.
So this has gone on since basically the beginning of time. He's been through every major war, and if you pay attention to history, every major war doesn't end slowly.
Right.
It ends rapidly, and that's when Dr. Von Helton leaves.
Yep.
So in 1880, he accidentally killed his wife, and he blames Jeremiah for that, one of our other characters, because Jeremiah was driving the carriage. And my wife came out into the road and... Well, it sounds more like
became a speed bump.
Speed bump.
It became a speed bump, essentially.
Yeah, because the horses didn't like it.
Well, yeah.
So he's been trying since then to figure out a way to bring her back to life, and he did it once, but he used black magic to do it.
And
so good old Doc had to shoot her, and she's cryogenically held right now.
Oh,
which is what all the experiments in the house are for, is trying to figure out how to bring her back to life.
yeah.
in a good way. That black magic way didn't work real good.
Yeah, it never works out well.
Yeah, so that's the pretty much the background of Dr. Von Houten. And then you come forward and people are like, what do you mean when you leave? I said, you remember this little thing called World War II? Yeah, how rapidly did that fall apart?
Yeah.
So everybody inside the haunt is still alive because of me.
Right.
Which is kind of a lot of power to have.
Sounds like a lot of pressure.
Right.
Do you have to work overtime for that? I mean, that's a lot of monsters.
I don't do overtime.
So how do you keep the monsters from running away?
There's barriers.
Oh, because I've heard there's an imaginary friend taking a wild futuristic trip this year.
That might be you.
He said he's breaking out.
Good luck. Don't get caught.
What would be the said consequences if said person would get caught?
Yeah.
If they were to get caught, I deny everything. It was Dr. Von Houten. I've never seen that person before in my life.
Excellent.
Why would they keep that? Look at it.
So of all the years of haunting, I know you've got great stories of like scaring the crap out of people, making people poop in their panties and run. But out of all of those, what is the most unique story that you have haunting as far as like scaring someone? Like
we used to have two people in the basement that were basically opposite of each other but kitty corner. And the one did his pop out scare and the girl peed. And so they're shoving her along like, you got to keep going. And then the other one jumped out and she goes, not again. So that they got a double pee.
a double P.
Double P.
I like the double Ps.
Yeah.
I had one that almost killed herself. I have a shot cage. I have a shot cage in my room. So as they're leaving, I hit that shot because I'll point at them and say, do you want to take her place? And they're like, no. And so when they keep looking underneath, trying to figure out where the body's at.
Right.
And she got in the perfect angle, and I hit that shot cage, and she just turned. Wham! And I was like,
Right
oh,
into the
my
wall.
God.
Yeah, I know from personal experience being in that room, people's reactions, they don't like seeing the guts laid out on the table, you know?
And they completely forget that wall's there.
Yeah.
And me holding them in my hand and yelling at the patient.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is your fault.
And when Sophie was with us, she was perfect for that. And I would take my hand and shove it into the cavity and grab her heart to get her to shut up. And she reacted so well. She'd do the, and I'm like, no, you stay quiet. So, the girls are all like, that is so gross. And the guys are all like, oh, hell no, that ain't right.
Yep.
And my daughter worked with me one night, and she was over by the mannequin, and they're waiting on the mannequin to move, and she's like right next to it. And she's got her doctor's coat on, and there's a big old tough cowboy come walking through. And he went around that corner, and he looked, and he goes, them are fake. And she stood up, and he literally screamed like a girl. I mean, it was that high pitched, and I'm like, okay, I have to turn around and act like I'm doing something else because I'm going to die.
See, those are the best ones. When they come in, they're the big bodybuilder guys that are all tough and rugged, and they think, oh, nobody's going to scare me. And it's the smallest actor we have.
Yeah.
That gets them on the floor, and they're screaming and crying, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And you're just like,
You know who my favorite guests are? Air Force Academy.
yes.
Yeah.
I
They come in
absolutely
like,
love them.
We're Air Force. They come out the other end, and I swear most of them have tears. They're like, that ain't right.
Now you can pick on the Air Force because you were a veteran as well.
Yes.
So we can't just pick on the Air Force if we're not veterans. You know, there's a little.
Yeah,
little weird.
it's I'm 20 years in the Navy.
Yeah. See, it's a give and take.
And,
We can pick on them a little bit.
We the funny thing is that all of the militaries mess with each other
Yes.
because we earned the right to mess with each other. But you let one civilian say something stupid, and you will find out how big of a fraternity we have.
Right.
I thought you guys hated each other. Well, that's your fault for thinking.
That's when we were drinking.
Yes.
It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
I would never drink
Same.
in public. I'm gonna get a beer afterwards.
Yeah.
So we're drinking after this.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Obviously. But
So,
yeah, I mean, in that room, it's crazy. I think we did some good tag teams last year
Yeah.
between me and Chris.
yeah, we did some really good ones.
I've heard a lot of
There's
good
a-
stories come out of that room, you know,
Well,
because when I was running Chainsaw, I get to hear a lot of the stories after people get done with me and they're walking back to the thing. And if there's a break, I can hear them talking and stuff. And I'd hear all kinds of cool stuff from inside the house. And I just get a big smile because I'm like, you know what? That's good that they're not talking about just the chainsaw guy at the end. They're talking about the stuff inside.
He messes with their heads
Yeah.
because
With that double mask he's got,
it's
Jesus.
not just that. They see him here, and then they see him here,
Uh-huh.
and then they see him here, and they're like, "How the hell does he do that?" But I have that back door right behind me.
That's another one.
And
Yeah.
The
As-
little hidey hole doors that we have in the haunts that people don't realize
they're
they're here.
They're forced to come down, and they get to a certain point, and I open up the door, and I got that big knife in my hand, the surgical knife in my hand, and they're like, "No, no, no!" And Dustin, right after that, then Dustin gets them. So
Yeah, in the attic.
yeah,
Yeah, that attic is
our living
that's
mannequin.
something. If whoever's in there this year better put up a good show because that
They have big shoes to fill. for
Dustin
sure.
had a good
Yeah, I know.
That noise that he made.
yes, where it's like a scratch on a chalkboard mixed
Yeah.
with a Furby, and you're like, what did you do? How did you even do that?
Didn't that hurt?
Yeah, like I'm trying to mimic it at home, and I'm like, I can't make
No,
that
I
noise.
would-
I'm not part pterodactyl. I don't
That-
understand.
That's a hard room to cover too.
Yeah,
like
it
it's
is.
really hard. I've done that a few
because
nights.
it's that three-way like zigzag
Yeah,
plus like holes in the wall that really aren't big enough to climb through.
and that morph suit. You
Yeah.
can't see through
You
that.
can't see
morph's
nothing.
Awful. It's like
and the lighting's terrible. It's the same color as the morph suit, so
Yeah.
literally you're immediately blind.
yeah, it's like man, this is what it's like to lose 90% of your vision.
I put it on for a video shoot. And I wanted to shoot myself. And I was like, there ain't no way in hell I would act in this thing for 4 hours. So
Yeah,
I'd quit. I'd
Nope.
be like, nope, I will be on the floor. I'll be a floor prop. I'm done.
I'll be curled in a ball.
Yeah,
What are you
it's,
doing? Oh, make it stop.
I'd go right back to being a mannequin.
I could do that for a little while, but I'm old and my knees will give out.
I had to do that shit one year at a haunt back in Ohio. They wanted me to be a prop. Basically, they were like, "Here, be a statue," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And they had like 4 other statues in this room that were up on pedestals, and it was just a hand out with a knife and random masks and black cloaks, and they were like, "We need you in a black cloak, a mask, and a knife, and just come down straight, and that's it." And I'm like, I don't say nothing. I don't
no
do
fun.
anything else. And they're like, no, just come straight down. I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
That's no fun.
Yeah. So I'd climb out of it and like throw the knife at the other ones and argue with them and say it was so dumb.
Speaking of being in a statue, a few years ago at Comic-Con, we had some of our mannequins. And I'm fancy Dr. Von Helton, so I got my top hat and all that. And cane.
Please
tell
say
me-
you don't want to get blood on your top hat,
No.
your Sunday clothes.
Yeah.
Sunday's best.
Duh. You know how hard that is to get out?
No, actually, because I just it's a good decoration, you know.
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
But these 4 girls are coming down. And so I just stood there next to the mannequins.
Just didn't do nothing.
And about the time they got right in front of me, I went, "What are you doing?" And they literally turned around and ran.
Yes.
That was another one Vince was at, and Vince was just dying. He was like, "Oh my God, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen." And one of the other things I do in the line is a stare contest. And there's a technique to staring.
Uh-huh.
And people are, "Oh, I'll take you on." And then they
So
blink
dumb.
like, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "I've got my secrets."
I could not blink for almost 5 to 10 minutes if I really want to.
Well, there's a secret to
Yep.
it. There's a secret to it.
There's a few little tricks that you got to do, and
And
nobody understands it. They're like, "Why are you still staring?" I'm like, "Cause."
see, that's the other thing I do as Dr. Von Helton instead of Jack is I'll pick like a young lady in line. You can see that she's nervous, and I'll just stop and stare at them until they, they're like, "Okay, you need to quit."
Yep.
And then I'll tell them this. You have amazing eyes, and they're like, "Thank you. I would like to use them in my new doll. Don't worry, though. I will put the rest of you in a soft padded room so you cannot damage the body until I'm to figure out what to do with it. But until then, I want your eyes. I'll see you in surgery." And they're like, One girl, she did not want to go in after I said that.
I like to pick them out from like the beginning of the line when they're close to the door and stare at them and they notice. And then you slowly make your way to them and you're still staring the whole time. You don't blink at all. And they're like, wait a minute. That guy really didn't blink. And then other people start noticing too. And then like you have a whole crowd that are like, wait, that guy really hasn't blinked the whole time. Like, what the fuck is wrong with him?
Yeah.
I always liked it on the line every now and then when you'd come out. The number of people that are freaked out by a clown is mind-boggling.
Imaginary friend.
Right.
Yeah.
He just looks clowny.
Well, it makes you think like, what makes people be so afraid of clowns? You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that it's the exaggeration of facial features and different parts of bodies because like small children, if you take a regular face and you invert part of the face, the baby will actually get uncomfortable because that's not natural to them. So it's like a thing that just continues to develop with the adults is they see these exaggerated noses, ears, mouths, whatever, and it's like an instant, oh shit, that's uneven. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not natural to them. So it's immediate freak out.
You mentioned kids, and it blows me away. The kids that people bring to the haunt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's been people go through with babies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
which is wild.
Can you leave that? I'm hungry.
Yeah. But I know when I was a kid, my dad always took me to. We went to haunted houses every year.
I think my first haunted house, I was like 6.
Yeah, I was like 5 or 6.
Oh, first one I went to was up at north, and we were literally at the north end of town back then. And
so what's that like? Where we're sitting now?
Oh.
Way
like everybody thought Haunted Minds was haunted, and I'm like, it was a bar.
Yeah.
Like, well, maybe something happened before that, and I'm like, it was a field, literally.
Yeah.
But my first haunt was by the JCs.
Okay.
And so we had a line of us going through, and I think I was in 10th grade. No, 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like a conga line going between all of us, and there was like 5 or 6 of us. And there was a girl behind me, and this dude jumped out as a werewolf, and it was one of the cheapest. It's like, dude, you look like a coyote with mange. And when he jumped out, she panicked and dug her nails into my sides. And I'm like, ow, ow, ow. And the guy looks at me and he's like, I didn't do anything to you. And I'm like, not you. So that was, and I told her, I said, why did you? She goes, it scared me. And I said, next time dig into yourself.
Yeah.
And I literally had claw marks from where she dug in.
God. I'm sure that's pretty common though.
Yeah.
The amount of people that come through. It'd be cool to know, just like,
I want to know how many girlfriends have nail marks from their boyfriends that grab them and scream, because I've seen so many girlfriend human shields. And I'm like, I thought you were supposed to be the big tough guy and you're grabbing your girlfriend using her. What is wrong with you?
You know it's bad when you make their girlfriend or wife or whatever crack up laughing and they're like, stop it.
I
love that, though.
I had a line for that. And I'm like, so I would tell him, who's going in first? and the guy be like, her. And I'd look at her and go, you know, he is trying to fake like he is going to protect you. She's like, what do you mean? I said, you are bait.
He's going to use you for a shield, lady.
And you see the girl turn and look like, you do that to me and I will hunt you down.
And almost every time it happens inside, I hear 10, 15 stories a night. Man, this girl was like protecting her boyfriend, or the boyfriend threw his girlfriend in front of him. And
exactly.
I'm like, I like that video that's been going around of the inside the haunt where the guy's chasing the girl and the boyfriend throws the girl at the haunt actor.
Yeah.
So the haunt actor hands the girl the machete and is like, here, go ahead. And so the girlfriend chases the boyfriend after that. I'm like, see, as a chainsaw guy, I would do that. Like if the guy threw his girlfriend at me, I'm like, here, you want to, here's chainsaw.
Go get him.
Go get him. Like, here you go.
And fun. That was the most common thing that I saw when they would have him in front.
Yeah.
Is they wouldn't pull him close to him to protect him. They would shove
They're
him.
pushing him out. Like, here, take this one.
Right.
And I do that to whole lines, too.
Dolores would take the girlfriend. if the boyfriends or the other girlfriends would give her the girlfriend to Dolores, she would take the girlfriend, and she's like, "All right, fine, you're mine now," and she would take them and walk with them for a minute. Yeah,
it's funny.
There's our local water and hole. There's a bartender there. Her name is Brandy, and I'm trying to talk her into come to the haunt.
Yeah,
and I'm wearing her down, and she's like, "I went to one a long time ago, and I'll never do it again." And I'm like, so I keep working on it.
You just advertised that we're the #1 and #4 haunt in the state. We're 14 and 35 in the country out of 2,000 haunted houses.
And I do that.
And that's beating out full contact haunts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not that scary, I wouldn't say. I'd say that we're pretty mild.
Yeah.
I
what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't scare. And back when we used to do training, me and Jesse, a lot of the kids would be like, you don't scare? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why don't you scare? And I'm like, because I've almost died 14 times. I even got hit by lightning.
There's not much left that get you outside of loud bangs always get me.
It's a start. But, it's not scared.
Yeah, that's a startle thing. Like, I hate you. But other than that, like, I've been scared one time.
I'd say anything with teeth. It doesn't scare me. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Anything with teeth.
It's the worst, man.
Like the extra teeth just like coming out of the mouth.
No, teeth being pulled out.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. That's just being strapped to a chair and like just teeth pulled out just sounds like the worst type of torture.
So we need that room now. It's a torture room where we're actually pulling someone's teeth out. So we need to get somebody with false teeth.
That's
to where they're pulling out fake teeth.
I think that would mess with a lot of people.
That would actually be,
especially if you got the forceps and you pull the tooth out right in front of them as you're going by.
I got an idea now.
See?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll add that to Jesse's list of things.
Of things to say no to Wizzo for. The Wizzo's no list.
Well, that one my name could be on that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that one might actually get passed. Yeah. If we put Chris on there, then that one might get through. You put Wizzo next to it, that's on the definite no list.
Well, see, but it gives it 2 votes.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, 2 votes.
I mean, Chris is in, so we've got 3.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 for pulling teeth. I think we're good.
I already had the visual.
Yeah, let's do it. I think that's a new character. We're gonna make it this year.
It's not gonna be Doc.
No,
I'm sticking to my surgery. I
you
swear.
all night?
Huh?
Said you don't want to pull teeth all night?
No.
What if we have a dentist and the doc, right? And then we have gang wars. Like the dental and surgical gang wars.
That reminds me of this morning.
They're throwing like teeth and body parts back and forth.
Chris is throwing fingers. They're throwing teeth.
You almost put my eye out.
Slingshot a toenail.
Yeah.
It could get good.
You guys, you guys throwing those body parts around is very disrespectful.
Got to keep them in.
You're in Dr. Von Helton's your mansion. There's what respect?
Send them to the cells. They'll be all right.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Just put them in the cells. Get them drunk in the wine cellar and let them fight it out in the cells.
Fight it out? Yeah, that'll work.
I mean, we have a fight cage here at the complex.
We do.
I mean, we could get them drunk at the wine cellar at Hellscream, put them in fight cage over here. It could be like a whole show.
It's like Hunger Games.
I would so put the tights on. I watched WWE.
We do have a little secret coming up in October. We'll be having some information put out soon about some stuff, some wrestling stuff.
Cool.
I
got 2 days that I am aware of that you're gonna have to be the doc.
Yep.
It's funny because last year I didn't do it, and my better half was kind of upset because we're season ticket holders for the Switchbacks.
Right.
And those tickets are expensive.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I said, this year I got to back up. So we'll be able to go to those 2 games. And they're both in October.
Cool.
I think you should go dressed as Dr. Van Helton to the soccer game.
I would.
Makeup,
here's what's
bloody
funny.
hands and all.
Yeah.
Here's what's funny. This security for the Switchbacks is the same security we use.
Oh, nice.
It's rough.
So see, you could totally wear it.
So every time we go in there, they're all like shaking my hand, getting hugs from Sherry, and people are looking at us like, what the?
Yeah, 100%. Rep the haunt a little bit, dress up.
Ask Chris. I never stopped repping the haunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of us never stop repping.
Yeah,
it, 'cause it's like,
I don't know how not to.
yeah.
There was a group. You'll get a kick out of this. There was a group of Army. We were at Drakkar Meadery yesterday, and they were busy. And there's this group of Army people, and they're back and forth and this and that. And they said something, and I couldn't help it. I had to dive in. And so I told them that I'm basically the lead actor at Hellscream.
Right.
And or the face of Hellscream, I guess is the best way to put it. But they're like, which one is it? And this girl's on her phone writing it down. And she looks at her friends and she goes, we're going. And the one guy that was sitting right next to me, he goes, no, I'm not. And she goes, what do you mean you're not? And he goes, them things are too damn scary. And I'm like, ours isn't scary. We were only number 1 in the state. And he goes, oh, hell no. And she goes, you're infantry.
You know, they're scary guys.
Yeah.
They're big, cuddly
Yeah.
flower smellers.
Yeah.
Teddy bears.
That was, and I looked over and Mike, we were sitting at Mike's table. He's the owner. And Sherry was sitting across from me, and Mike is just dying. So I showed him some of the accents that I can do in the characters and like that, and did Johnny Depp for him for the
Right.
girls. And they're like, "How do you do that? And you change so fast." And I'm like, "It's called improv."
So I have a photo from like 2 years ago when they first did the operating theater. It's of you and Sophie, and I like to show people that photo.
Yeah.
Because it like what is going on there? Because it looks so real, like the photo.
The way that
It's
table
so
is set
real.
up and everything
And the
is
blood
just
on my hands. and-
incredible.
Yeah. And then I end up explaining, no, it's a false table.
Yeah.
Well, the picture that David took that they gave me,
Yeah.
that's my favorite one. And the other one was, I'm like,
Yeah,
I got her guts in my hand, and I'm like,
yummy, yummy.
Right.
I was like pretend like I'm eating the guts when I fill in that room. So that really disturbs people. Or I try to
does.
feed the guts to the patient. I'd be like screaming in their face, like, eat it.
I had to do I think it was a promo video or something. We did a video in there and they had me in there for a minute and I was like, I don't know what the hell to do. And I was like, well, screw it. We're eating the body. So I immediately grabbed the stuff and I was like, because I didn't want to do something that you do. I didn't want to do something that he does. I didn't want to do something that Dolores does because I know she's done some things
she's
in there
done
too.
some pretty cool
And
things.
she gets weird in there too. And I'm like,
Everybody
I
does.
don't know.
It's something about that room.
yeah, but I was like, I don't know what I should do because I want to be different. You know what I mean? You want to give it a different look or a different feel because of the different characters. So I'm like,
She's a crawler.
yeah,
So I've seen her go up 2 or 3 rows and start climbing, and I'm like, oh, that is freaking cool.
the way
then-
she moves in rooms sometimes is just like,
Sometimes she'll be at the very end of the straight part where they're looking at the surgery, and she'll just be squatted down, and they're watching and they're trying to figure out where she's at, and then they'll look up and she starts coming at them, and the guys are like, oh hell no, I'm going the other direction.
that's another big thing about haunting. You gotta be quick.
Yeah.
You gotta be quick. You gotta anticipate where they're gonna look, so you're not there, and you're somewhere else.
It's called distraction.
And there's a few of them that we have that are outrageously good at that.
I used to have.
I like to be seen. That's my game.
Yeah.
I like to be loud and be seen. I like to get in between.
See, I do a
people.
little bit of both. There's sometimes
Yeah.
where Wizzo's like, you know what? I need to be the center of attention. And then there's sometimes where Wizzo's like, you know what? I'm going to be silent as shit and become a ninja. And I'm going to hit you 4 times before you even know what's going on.
When I have a live actor, I try to put the focus on them
Yeah.
instead of me because they're the ones that's doing the hard work.
Yeah.
And so I try to put the focus on them. And like with Sophie, I used to tell her every night that we were, hey, you did an outstanding job. And it's important to encourage younger people.
Yeah.
Because
And all of them, for that matter.
Well, yeah,
the
but-
older actors too, because I mean, we get burnt out real quick and think that we're burning
And
out.
I've given you compliments. I've given you compliments. But the younger ones, especially their first year there,
yeah,
they need that encouragement.
because my first year, I never had a veteran actor because I started at an amusement park haunt, so it was upwards of 500 actors, You know what I mean? So we didn't even know half the people that
Right.
worked with us. Like I've seen them in passing. I see their character for a half a second, and then that's it.
That would
And
be
there was no like encouragement. And then when I got to Dent Schoolhouse, they were a lot better about encouraging and helping each other. And then when I came out here again, it was more of the same stuff where it's like, hey, let's encourage each other and boost each other. Because not all the time, you can't have characters that are going to be around all year round because some people have real people lives, you know, they can't do their character all day long.
right.
But then you have some characters that can do that. And that's where we need to support each other too. Because if, let's say, out of us three and you're doing your character all year round and we're not doing anything, we're still getting publicity from the haunt because you're still promoting. And as long as we're pushing that character, it helps.
Yeah.
And that helps with a lot of haunters. And a lot of haunters forget that, yeah, we're all in the same house. And yeah, my character might be a little bit bigger than this character or that character. But let's all help that one character that can put that time in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that'll help these other actors that want to do that. And then that one actor can be like, hey, let's all three do it instead.
It took me a while to figure out how to do my own makeup.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me last year, and I don't check with the makeup manager. I just do what I do and out the door because it's very simple. I don't have a lot of, draw blood in and do that. And
right.
I'm shallow cheeks, dark eyes, done, and pale.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me last year, and it was the first day that we opened, that Saturday we had watched Svengoolie.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came on, I looked at Sherry, my wife, and I was like, oh my God, I'm Svengoolie. And it's, if you look at some of the pictures, like the black and white picture that I sent you, it's just sitting there with the pipe. And when you look at it, it's like, damn, with that top hat and the jacket, I do look like Svengoolie. Yeah. And that wasn't the intention. I was just supposed to look old.
Right. It's funny that there's resemblances in characters sometimes, or the customers will pick up on one tiny detail that's the same as somebody. Like I get called Pennywise all the time, and I'm like,
you don't look nothing like
first
that.
off, I don't look like him. Two, I'm orange and white, not red and white. I mean, I get it, like darkness and colors and stuff, but at the same time, like we didn't look anything alike. Like I don't use hair. Right. And I'm like, where?
Yeah, and
okay,
this
cool.
past year, I got a lot of, it's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Because that Netflix series that came out. And I was like, Jeffrey Dahmer didn't have two faces, okay?
Yeah.
Calm down.
I don't get some of the references.
Yeah.
That's some of the fun that I've had right here, because he's gone to the very end of the straight table and turned around.
And it's so good, though.
And then when he turns around, they're like,
no, their brain don't register. They're like, wait a minute, did he turn his head around or did he not? Does he have two faces?
Well, that's the great part about being a runner with that mask, is I can get in between people and they still think I'm looking
like
at them.
You're yelling at them when they're not.
Yeah, and I can turn around, they're like, what the hell? It's good times.
I think, but didn't I hear last year there was one girl going, how are you talking without your mouth moving?
Yeah.
It's a good mask, that's for sure.
When I heard that you got that mask and I seen the picture, I was like, this is going to be great. Yeah. This whole situation is going to be great no matter what he puts on. And then I found out the jacket was going to be a dual jacket as well, where it was half straight jacket, half regular jacket. I was like, oh my God, it gets better.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to glue two pairs of shoes together this year.
We need to split pants for you.
Oh,
to where it's the front pants on both sides.
Well, it gives him.
Well, I mean, what does this, like someone in a straitjacket, what kind of pants do they wear usually?
The same color pants.
Same white pants. So we'll do like white pants on one side and then like blue doctor pants on the other.
Just get two pairs of scrubs and sew them together. Yeah.
But that mask gives him an advantage.
Yes.
To breaking up conga lines.
Yep.
Because I've watched him do it, and it's like, damn, that took all of a half a second.
Yeah. Because they think somebody's looking at them. And it's like, oh, shit, I should back up for a second.
And I've seen other people that are really, really good. Aura was really good at breaking up conga line. And so is Dolores.
Yeah.
And but the way that they do it, they get in somebody's face and they start basically chewing their ass.
Yeah.
he doesn't have to say anything.
No, he just looks because he's like looking both directions, and they're like, "Wait,
is he coming at me or going away?"
See, I've got that in your face approach where I'm like, let's get the hell over here, and I'm like, let's redirect you all the way this way.
Jesse had to come in and pin the first row seats because people would come in and sit down.
Yeah.
And that one lady, I swear to God, I almost went over the rail. She wouldn't get up.
I keep trying to tell Jesse that you need like sponges that look like hearts, and you could fill them with water and like make the lights a little red in that room, and you just fucking chuck them at people, and you're like, "Get out of my chair!" And like smashes into them.
See, he pinned them.
Yeah,
so they can't sit.
It don't matter.
There was a guy. Anyway. There was a guy last year that big old tall dude too. He was about 6'12". He went to sit down. He's like, "Well, the seat won't come down." I'm like, "There's a reason for that." Move along,
right?
And then I got him with shot cage. And I was so glad he did it because that one lady, and she comes every year, and I'm telling you, that woman is 3 sandwiches shy of a picnic. She ain't right. And she comes in and she sits down and she's like, "Continue surgery," and I'm like, "Who the hell do you think? Get out of the chair!"
Or the one guy who gave everybody tips on how to cut people up.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that guy last year? I had like 3 actors come up to me at the end of the night, and they were like, "Hey, did you get the guy asking you or telling you how to cut people in pieces?" And I'm like, "No. What?" And they were like, "Yeah, he was like physically showing, like telling me showing me on his body." And I'm like, "That's strange as shit. You should have had him removed immediately. Like that's weird."
Or he could come join us.
Yeah.
Because then he can tell customers how to cut themselves up. And
yeah.
But I was just like, no, disturbing. I've never seen that guy. He didn't tell me how to cut somebody with a chainsaw.
If I
would you start putting the power in the customer's hand, like, "Oh, I'm going to have you cut your friend's face and put it on your face." And they're like, no,
I can't do that.
I can't. No.
See, to me, that's the irritating ones. It's the little kids.
Yeah.
You talk about surgery and they're like, "Do me."
We'll do it. All right.
Well, you'll have to wait until we're up at the surgery room. I'll see you up there.
Give us a few years. We're going to have a full contact haunt. Let me toss you up on this table right then.
That one mom, oh my God, I totally freaked her out. When I was on the line, when it wasn't like stupid busy, I would go into the house and meet people like every other room, and it freaks them out. The way, and they're like, and I'd just stand there. I wouldn't say nothing. I'd just stand there and stare at them. And there was a mom. And so they came through, and I went downstairs, and she's like, "There he is again." So they started up the stairs to the surgery floor, and I went the other direction. First room, when they get to the top of the stairs, I'm standing there again. She's like, "You've got to be kidding me." So they're going through, and I showed up like one more time. And then right at the very end, this is back when the operating room was where the bodies were at that did hucklebucking just before you get to the last one and go out.
Right.
And I'm standing against the wall, and she's got her 2 daughters with her. And her husband. And so they go through where the theater's at now, and they come into that surgery room, and then they turn, and the dad walks by, the mom walks by, and they don't see me. And the one daughter goes, "Mom," and she goes, "What?" And she goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And both girls, "Mom!" And I was dying because I was like, and so I met them at the end when they came outside, and she goes,
again,
she goes, "How do you do that?" And I said, "It's my house." I know where all the hidden spaces are at. And she's like, "There's hidden spaces?" I'm like, "You didn't notice that?" And she goes, "Well, now that I think about it, that makes a lot more sense." So you can have fun going through the haunt like that, messing with people, and that's another reason.
It's so much fun.
Yeah,
that's another reason I went back on the line, because that's where I had my most fun.
Yeah.
After my time in the military, I was a cop. While I was in the military, and you learn what to look for.
Yeah.
And
you can stop them problem customers before they get in and possibly hurt somebody in the haunt.
And over the last couple of years, there's the one thing I've noticed with that right before COVID is that the Drunk people are belligerent and will disregard any rules that you tell them if they feel like they can get away with it.
Immediately.
High people are just fascinated by everything.
Yeah, they just want to see every inch of that place.
Right.
What is that?
What is that? Whoa.
That's a pretty cool cobweb.
I wonder how they did that.
A cobweb machine
with paint.
I've always wanted to use one of those cobweb machines. You know,
Yeah.
it seems like so much fun.
I've heard they're a pain in the ass, though.
That's okay.
Jesse says he hates it with a passion,
really?
that he hates re-webbing every year.
I'll
He's like,
I'll
this is
volunteer
the
for
worst
it.
part of the year.
I'll volunteer for it.
Yeah, right?
It seems I was
Just
supposed
run
to
around.
experience- Yeah. You get a cobweb. You get a cobweb.
Everybody gets a cobweb.
And them things go everywhere. I've seen them, and it's just like,
Yeah.
you're like, damn.
Look underneath your seat. Cobwebs.
What do you got over there? Cobwebs.
Come out the back end.
Still got cobwebs? I
That
think
would
some
be
of my
cool.
costumes from like 3 years ago still have cobwebs from the haunt. And I'm like, why?
Gives me an idea. You know, my mask on the backside of it. Yeah. So last year we put a mouse in there, and we need to Meisel Myers. So I should fill that cavity full of cobwebs and put a spider that's like poking out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or get an automatic spiderweb shooter to
Oh.
where you push a button and he vomits
And
spider webs out of his mouth.
That would be funny. But if you put a spider on the back of that, you gotta name it Charlotte.
Yes.
Charlotte. Yeah. Why Charlotte? Charlotte's Web?
Because the cobweb.
I'm gonna poke your eye out, and I know how to do it.
Just make it quick.
Yeah. Or slow.
That was. It was. Speaking of eyes and like that, there was an attack from an animal, and the guy. It was on the news. The guy, I think he got attacked by a mountain lion, and he finally got the cat away from him, and they had to rush him to the hospital. They flew in a helicopter, and one eye was completely out of the socket.
Oh, I know what video you're talking about now. Yeah, and he's like in selfie mode, and he was like, "I just was attacked by a mountain lion."
What?
It's the wildest video.
And he's looking at himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
insane.
filmed it. Yeah, it was on like Instagram. And
I
TikTok
kind of
and all
want to
that
pop
stuff.
my eye out just to see if I can see my own face. Because that'd be wild.
How am I looking today?
Right? Like, how many people could say that? You've seen your own face outside of a mirror.
When we first
One
got
guy.
here,
Camera.
right? When we first got here, Sherry's from Minnesota,
Mhm.
and she's used to a different kind of wildlife than we have here. And it was in October, so the weather's changed. It's kind of cool, and so we went through winter. And she told me, she goes, "You said winters were mild," and I'm like, "We have break winters every now and then." Spring rolls around, and there's this old couple, riding their bikes through Garden of the Gods, and a mountain lion jumped on his back.
Oh, shit.
And this was on the news too. And they showed his helmet, and the cat bit through his helmet and took a chunk of it out. And she looked at me and she goes, "You brought me here?" I'm like,
Well, yeah.
you gotta look at it and go, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty."
Yeah. Just excitement.
Good.
You know.
cat. Good kitty.
Just bring some kibble and you're good.
I swear to God, that's how I'm gonna die. There's gonna be a mountain lion or something out there, and I'm gonna want to hug it.
I'm going to
Or
pet an animal.
tiger.
Yep.
Tiger. For some
I've always
reason.
said I'm down to fight pretty much any animal except the polar bear and things that live in the water. Because obviously I can't fight water animals. You know, I'm not built for water. And polar bears
But
are
like a
like
chimp-
30 feet tall and angry at everything.
Here's something to think.
I'm not fighting a bear that's angry at everything.
A chimp is small, but they're like mostly muscle.
They're-
They'll tell you
chimps
apart.
are vicious.
Fucking ninjas. That's what they are.
Yeah, but they'll tear you apart.
Yeah.
no
They're
joke.
vicious. I'll still fight one, but I'm not. But yeah.
They do that windmill flail thing.
Yeah. The drunken master fighting style.
Yes.
Where it's like, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? I got slapped with a tail, a foot, and a hand within 2
Frightening
seconds.
watching those things. It's yeah. And I grew up here, so I grew up seeing like bobcats.
Right.
And there was a guy. I was up fishing, and he comes running. He goes, "Run!" I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "There's a lynx back there," and I'm like, "You in the wrong state." I said, "That's probably a bobcat." "I'm telling you, it's a lynx." And the cat came out on the trail, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's bobcat.
"Dude, that's a bobcat." Well, it's still trying to eat me. And I'm like, he ain't going to eat you. You were in his territory.
He's just letting you know to get the hell out.
And he goes, do bobcats attack people? I said, yeah, if you stay in their territory for too long.
Just tell them. All you got to do is tell the animal, hey, my bad. Leave.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah. Back away.
Most animals are cool. You're like, hey, my bad. You leave them alone. And they're like, all right.
Encounters with animals is sometimes hilarious.
Yeah.
So on my 50th birthday, we went to Aspen because it was right after hunting season. My birthday's November 5th. And so I took my guitar up there and I thought, how cool would it be to play Rocky Mountain High in front of Rocky Mountain High?
Right.
Because they have the Serenity Garden and it's all John Denver's songs. And so we went and did that, came back. The lady running the hotel worked for John Denver for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
And so the guy that's with her, Steve, he's just real quiet. So we get checked in and all, and she's like, you don't have any food in your car, do you? Because the bears haven't started hibernating yet. And we're like, and Sherry looks at me and gave me that look of, you brought me here? And so we went and did the Serenity Garden on Saturday and came back, and Linda says, what time do you eat supper? And I said, normally around 5:36. And she goes, you might want to eat earlier. And I'm like, closing shops or what? And she goes, no, I told the rest of the guests that you and Steve were going to be playing down in the breakfast room. And I'm like, well, thanks for asking. So he played the upright bass. And the guests came down and they brought like cheese plates and meat plates and wine and beer. And I had me a bottle of JMO. And we just had a good time for about an hour. And then we said, okay, concert's over. And Steve goes, I'm taking you out. And I was like, awesome. So we went bar hopping. And he introduced me to a Scottish guy. And I'm like, hey, it's Mon. It's great to meet you. And Steve's going, and he goes, that's pretty good. So I got pretty well lit because I'm used to drinking at 6,500 feet, not 10,400 feet. And so we're heading back to the hotel, and we come around the one corner, and there's a bear. And I'm like, and I'm trying to remember, okay, act big and be loud. So I'm like, rah! And Steve's going, no! And the bear looked at me and just walked across the street and gave me this look like, stupid human. And he goes, you don't do that unless they're coming at you. And I'm like, well, it was the only thing I could remember. And he's like, I'm going to go get another shot.
I got to forget about this dumb bear.
Right?
That was so funny. I'm rah, and he's no. And I swear to God, the bear.
Just like some customers at the hunt.
Right?
Yeah, no kidding.
No.
I like messing with people that mess with me. Because I got that one. The one guy kept going by, and he was in the VIP line. He was lit, and he kept telling me to do a magic trick, and I kept telling him, oh, I'm not a magician. So I did the smoke bird.
Yeah.
And when I went, he looked right at it, and his friends were like, oh! He didn't call me a magician no more. He was mad at me, but he didn't call me a magician no more.
That's the good part, you know? When you shut them up and make them feel a little stupid a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite thing with the academy.
Yeah.
Because I mess with them bad, being a submariner. And see, I wore my submarine hat this time. I have another one that has a submarine on it. Yeah. And it says, the best Marine is a submarine. Yeah. I've run into a couple of devil dogs who are like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Do you want me to take it off and read it to you real slow?
Well, you know, they only know like 4-letter words.
Here's a box of cans. I'll give them to you for free. Go away.
Hilarious. All right. I think that's an episode.
It's an episode?
Yeah.
Right
a whole thing?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for coming on and sitting with us. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Little info on Dr. V and the history of Hellscreaming.
Yeah. And comparing stories.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the season?
Very.
Yeah.
Because last year, my cardiologist had changed one of my prescriptions and doubled it.
Yeah.
And that's what was messing me up. And so I ended up in the ER again. And Dr. Lamb goes, who's your cardiologist? I said, Dr. Davalos. And he goes, okay, go back to the 12 and a half. And I haven't had a problem since.
Nice. We're looking forward to having you for a full season again, and
I'm looking forward to being there.
Good
except
stuff.
for those 2 games.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Yeah.
Good times, bro. Good times.
Heck
Good
yeah.
times. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.